Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. Big news to share with you, all important items. We have Rio de Janeiro of Brazil. They're about to put 1% of the city's treasury in crypto. Huge adoption news, and we're going to see game theory play out there, of course. So I'll share the details there. We also have news from a crypto research firm of 55 of the 100 largest banks in the world are involved in crypto. And guess what? That number is going to continue to grow. So I'll share the data there with you. Also, in the Ripple lawsuit, the SEC Ripple lawsuit, guess what? The SEC has to hand over some Bill Hinman emails around Ethereum. Very, very interesting update. And I think this is really good for Ripple. And there's lots of bullish news around what we can expect to see with the market. Coinbase CEO weighing in on what NFTs can do for crypto, saying that it may bring in the next 1 billion users. And I certainly agree with those statements. And there's a lot of bullish news I want to break down for you guys. Before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Guys, this video is brought to you by Algorand, which is building the future of finance. Algorand is one of the leading blockchain projects in the crypto industry. They're getting significant adoption and investments. For example, Borderless Capital launched a $500 million algo fund. Both Anthony Scaramucci and Michael Arrington's hedge funds have invested hundreds of millions of dollars to build out the Algorand ecosystem. And I'm personally an algo token holder. So if you would like to learn more, please visit algorand.com. Now, if we look at the market here, Bitcoin currently hovering over $43,000. There's some green across the board, but it's very minimal as far as the gains. Nothing significant here. If we look at the Bitcoin weekly chart, we see that same weak green candle, as essentially what you would call it on a weekly chart. It's still there. Obviously, I would rather see a weak green candle than a red candle, of course. But, we got to let this rally prove itself, let it do what it has to do. It may move sideways. It may get a little choppy for the next few weeks before we actually see a move upwards, a strong move upwards. And I do believe we still have a blow off top to head to for this bull market cycle. We haven't seen it yet. And it usually happens with Bitcoin. Then the money flows to altcoins and we have a massive alt season. But look, that is not guaranteed. As I've said many times, that's how it's played out historically. So we have no reason to believe that it will deviate significantly from that. So we at least have to use the facts and the trends and the data to show or to form a thesis as to what may be coming. Now, a lot of analysts are putting together different charts, looking at different patterns, and this is what you have to do, right? No one can predict the future, but at least, like I said, we use the math, the data, the trends, and so forth. Well, check this out from BTC Fuel, Bitcoin's 4-year wave pattern. And this person mapped out the 4 waves within each respective cycle. And you can see here, we've had 1 and 2 formed for this cycle, but 3 and 4 have not formed yet. So, could this thing play out till 2023? We will have to wait and see. This could be correct or it could be wrong. I said, I don't know when or what the timeline is for this blow off top. It could happen in this quarter. It could happen next quarter, sometime later this year. But this is where we have to be patient and we have to look at all possible scenarios and plan accordingly. Now, I'm bullish macro level, all the facts of what I've been sharing with you guys with adoption, both on the corporate side, the hedge funds, the investment firms, the institutional players, and the government point to this asset class growing and being established. Now, prices will follow that, of course, but as I said, patience is key here. So nevertheless, this is a very interesting chart. And, I don't know if I agree that this thing is going to go all the way to 2023, but it may. But I think we see that blow off top this year. But once again, we'll have to wait and see. And here's a great chart from the analyst it goes by the name of Blake. He said during the 2020 run, let me pull up the chart here so you guys can easily see it. He said during the 2020 run, Bitcoin made its first lift off from the bear market trend line. This happens each cycle. It usually doesn't return to the orange trend line until the top is in. it's currently sitting above and slash retesting the local 1.414 mid-cycle support fib around 42K. So if we look at the respective orange line here that has formed, showing kind of the baseline of how the cycles run, right? You have your peaks, which move away from that orange line. And then when we're heading to a bear market, we touch back down on there, right? So right now, we're not close to it. And it looks like we're bouncing off of that 40K support level, or what he said is the 42, around 42. So he's expecting a swing upwards to move away even further, once again, indicating we still have a blow off top to head to. Once again, not financial or investment advice, not a guarantee. This is just one analyst's perspective, and we'll have to see whose thesis plays out. I'm personally of a believer, like I said, because of my own research, that and having gone through a bull market before, we haven't seen that blow off top yet. So I tend to agree with this, but we'll have to see what happens. All right, let's jump into the news. The city of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil will allocate 1% of the city's reserves to Bitcoin. This is so bullish, guys. The story was, excuse me, let me jump ahead here so I give you guys some accurate info. There is some clarity around this headline from a local who said this is not entirely true for now. The mayor of Rio did not specify that the investment will be made in Bitcoin. The original context of his speech was, we are going to launch Crypto Rio and invest 1% of the treasury in cryptocurrency. So want to make sure I give that clarity, and also the original headline, just so you guys have the full context. So could they invest in multiple cryptocurrencies? Sure. What we've seen, though, is that most of these folks jump into Bitcoin as the well-known brand. They'll start with that, kind of test the waters, and then they'll add other cryptos. Eventually, I believe these cities, these countries will hold more than just Bitcoin, but that may be a bit ways off. And of course, we know there's still not regulatory clarity around certain assets, especially in the United States. So we'll just have to wait and see. But nevertheless, Bitcoin's adoption is crypto adoption. It really brings people into the market. You think about your own personal journey. I learned about Bitcoin, and then I went beyond Bitcoin and looked at altcoins, right? It puts you into the rabbit hole and you learn about the asset class. So we want Bitcoin to do well. Once again, it's the established brand. It's what people know and they've heard of and so forth. And a lot of these investments from governments and private institutions will start with Bitcoin before they head to altcoins. Now, along those lines, the mayor of Rio de Janeiro announced a 10% discount on taxes paid in Bitcoin. Guys, I'll go back to that word, patience. Do you see what's happening here? All the puzzle pieces coming together, and game theory will play out. One domino falls, watch the neighboring cities in even in Brazil, as well as other countries in South America, they will follow suit as well. We're seeing it in Latin America. So this will play out in Africa as well with the countries there. But we just got to be patient. As inflation and macroeconomic factors get worse, these folks will be forced to crypto. Now, I go back to what Chamath Palihapitiya said in 2020, when he talked about, look, Bitcoin and crypto doing well, that's great if you're holding and it's doing well, but sometimes the conditions, or he anticipates the conditions under which this asset class will do well, it's going to be painful. And we see that with the economy, with inflation and obviously this pandemic situation. So not that I'm on board for those things. I wish those things didn't exist, but eventually, those things will go away and the asset class will be established and continue to grow beyond this time period of where we're living in, really bad situations. So just some food for thought and things to think about, but it goes along to the lines of my thought of they're going to be forced to, because of bonds failing and traditional financial assets failing and inflation and so forth. Now, Coinbase CEO made an interesting statement. And at first I kind of was like, oh, whatever, man, NFTs. But he said NFTs will onboard the next billion crypto users. And then when I really sat down and thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because it's another pathway, another avenue to reach the masses, to get their attention. Because, they may have heard about Bitcoin. They're like, oh, whatever, I don't really care about Bitcoin. Now they should care, right? Because the reasons I just mentioned, with what's happening globally and the money and inflation and so forth, and the way the wealthy have historically grown their wealth and maintained their wealth, is to put their money into assets that appreciate over time. Yes, you still want to have liquid cash for emergencies, for paying your bills, all of that stuff. But, retail, for the most part, they're almost trained to, oh, I better leave it in my bank account. No, it's too risky to invest in stocks or whatever it may be. And that's because many times they don't have the patience or the macro view, which smart money does. So the fact that we can reach people with NFTs, which is a branch of crypto, which will, once you learn about NFTs, how do you buy an NFT? How do you create it? How do you launch it? You have to learn about Ethereum or Solana, or, eventually XRP Ledger and so forth. You have to learn about the protocols and the blockchains and the cryptocurrencies that fund and allow you to transact with them. So I agree with Brian here. So NFTs, while you may not like them or you hate them or whatever it is, you're not interested in them, they are important for more adoption and the growth of this asset class. Now, check this data out. This is very bullish. 55 of the 100 world's biggest banks have invested in crypto/blockchain companies. And this data is coming from Block Data, showing the top banks investing in crypto and blockchain companies as of August 2021. And you just see the breakdown here, starting with Standard Chartered, BNY Mellon, Citibank, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Barclays. We're seeing all of them are launching crypto or Bitcoin wealth funds. They're doing a lot of reporting and different, and their analysts are talking about it nonstop. They're putting out quarterly reports. So we know of this, we've been talking about it on the channel, right? BNY Mellon, all these guys are jumping in, despite what JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon has been saying. His bank they can't not participate, because their clients will leave and go elsewhere. And, these hedge funds and so forth are investing a lot of money. So I'm sure their clients are like, wait, we need to get a position in this. So they're forced to capitulate. And they're not only investing in the crypto assets, but in the companies building the respective ecosystem and infrastructure of the market. And speaking of this, look at this news from Sam Bankman-Fried, who's the CEO of FTX Exchange. He says, we're launching a $2 billion venture fund, FTX Ventures. As a founder, it's important to support other founders creating great companies. Hopefully this will allow us to do a lot more. Very bullish news, my friends. $2 billion. And we've been talking about it on this channel. Andreessen Horowitz, they raised, I think it was a few billion as well. And you have all these hedge funds and investment firms, and you pool all that money together, guys, it's going to head into the trillions that are going to be investing into the crypto market. And wait till the sovereign wealth funds come. And Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, has been talking about this. I think Anthony Scaramucci as well. There's a lot of money sitting overseas, guys. And wait till all of that cash starts coming into crypto. As I've stated many times, we're still very early. Now, Ripple's Ashish Birla weighed in on this, and he kind of summarized it greatly, or very well here. He said, it's a great time to become a Web3/crypto entrepreneur. Are we far enough to absorb the $8.25 billion of incoming venture capital? Only time will tell. Recent crypto fund announcements: Paradigm, $2.5 billion, A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, $2 billion, FTX, $2 billion. Katie Hahn, she left Andreessen Horowitz to start her own thing, $900 million. Pantera, Dan Moorhead, who I've interviewed, $350 million. Golden Tree, $500 million. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more to come. And he's absolutely right. If you have the entrepreneurial spirit and goals, and you want to start some sort of crypto startup, now's the time to do it. Go talk to these guys, and you'll get some money. You'll get, look, even if it's like $20 million, which is like a drop in the bucket for these guys, you would get that capital easily, especially if you have obviously a good company, good idea that you want to build out. So I encourage you guys, if any of you are looking to do something, I'm certainly constantly thinking of, what I could personally do. Or how can I maybe start my own company, some sort of crypto solution, software, reporting, whatever it may be. I'm absolutely looking at that. Now, let's move ahead here to some Ripple news. The SEC Ripple lawsuit. SEC must surrender Hinman email on Ether to Ripple, judge rules. A federal judge ruled an email containing a draft of the former SEC official's speech is not protected by agency privilege. Now, we'll have to see what they actually provide, because we've seen they've redacted a lot of stuff in documents. They'll black it out, so you can't even read the full document. But this is still a move in the right direction for Ripple to get this information, because we know of the potential conflicts of interest with William Hinman giving Ethereum the free pass, getting paid $15 million by the firm that represented folks who were invested in Ethereum. So we've talked about this a lot, but this is definitely important. So this rule was ruled by the judge yesterday. So I think a win for Ripple. As I've stated many times, I do believe Ripple is going to come out victorious out of this, and it will really set the precedence for the entire crypto market. And I think XRP will then be relisted on exchanges, US exchanges, and Ripple will have to pay a fine for 2013 to 2015. That's personally what I believe, and that I think will happen and settle this year. Even Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has said this. Now, Erika Rhodes, who's a candidate for Congress, and I'll be interviewing her next week as well, and she's going after Brad Sherman's seat. So please support her. I personally donated to her. Even if you put like $20, guys, you just donate $10, whatever it is. I'm not telling you how much you're donating, but if every little helps, because we need to get the clowns like Brad Sherman out, because we've seen his campaign donations. He's being paid by guys who are being disrupted by crypto. And she tweeted the following with regards to a Washington Post article. She says, "I'm running against Congressman Brad Sherman, who thinks Bitcoin is a threat to the upward mobility when it comes to our current systems and lack of leadership, who keep people in poverty." And she said, "Thank you to Dave Weigel and Washington Post for including us in this article." So here's the article title, the trailer, "Money in People's Hands, the Democrats Who've Learned to Love Crypto." And this is very interesting. We are seeing bipartisan support for different folks. Bipartisan support for crypto from different congressmen and representatives in DC. So that's a good sign that these two parties can come together on something and agree on something. But you still have these detractors like your Brad Shermans and Elizabeth Warren and Janet Yellen, these people that make me sick, and Gary Gensler as well. Dan Tapiero, who I've interviewed on the channel, big time investor, he's raising a lot of capital to invest in the market as well. He tweeted, "This is what adoption looks like. Important to remember that the business of Bitcoin/cryptocurrency is not an American business, truly global business." I've said that to you guys countless times, thousands of times on this channel. I share news of expansions, mergers and acquisitions, investments happening overseas, because never in the history of the world has there been an asset class like this. And I know some people will say, "Well, dude, what about gold? Everybody around the world holds gold." Yes, to a certain degree, but never have they been able to collectively know the supply and come together as a community and play out Metcalfe's law to almost like a perfection because of a monetary network. And you can view transactions on the blockchain. It's borderless and it's real time. And I think you guys know the principles. Never has there been an asset class like this. And he's right that, you could be in some country in Africa and have a smartphone and buy some Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, whatever. You could be in Australia and do the same thing. Iceland, United States, somewhere in some country in South America, Brazil, whatever it is. we're all connected on that network. Never has there been anything like this. So he says 90% of the total crypto volume is outside the US, with Rio government 2, watch LATAM as leader. So talking about Latin America. And the article he linked out to here is apartment bought in Mexico for 5.78 Bitcoin. So this is adoption. It may seem almost small or insignificant, but it starts this way. And you look at the internet and other technology adoption, it starts with a small group and then it expands and so forth. And like I said, this market is not limited to the United States or the UK, right? Or it's not like a stock exchange. Well, you can only invest in this stock exchange if you live in this country or this region. You could be anywhere in the globe and participate, guys, and transact with crypto. Now, speaking of transacting with crypto, our friend Elon Musk tweeted out this morning, Tesla merch buyable with Dogecoin. All right, Elon, I know you love Dogecoin, but come on, man. Anyway, I'm not hating. Look, it's all adoption. But I hope, and I actually tweeted back at him asking, hey, Elon, do you plan to expand beyond Doge and include Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and so forth? Because it would be cool if they were to do that, like test the waters with Doge and then opening up to other cryptos. You know, I'm not a believer in Doge, not because I hate it, but rather because of its tokenomics, that it does not have a cap supply and there's no type of burn for functionality in there. And the supply is almost infinite. Now, if they fix that, then I may change my stance. You know, I will change my respective opinion based on facts. So the facts change about Dogecoin. I will certainly change my facts accordingly. Now, I know some people are going to reply to my comment section and be like, dude, Ethereum is not capped. Yeah, but look at Ethereum supply versus Dogecoin. Also, Ethereum did an upgrade where they're burning ETH. So the supply is being burned. So you can't compare the two, right? So you really got to think these things through and look at all the facts, you know, look at them side by side. So Dogecoin is not a bet I will personally put my money on. And like I said, if the facts change, I will get on board. Finally, you know, we've been talking about Jack Dorsey. He recently launched the Bitcoin Defense Fund, and his company Block is going to be, you know, launching their own sort of Bitcoin mining kind of open source solution. We'll have to wait and see. But Australian Stock Exchange to list Jack Dorsey's Block as its first major Bitcoin and crypto listing. Wow, that is interesting. And look, I've said it many times, I will not bet against Jack. All politics and other stuff aside, from a you know, the man's intellect and his ability to get things done. He's a successful entrepreneur, obviously, and he's very bullish on Bitcoin, and he has the money, the influence, and like I said, the knowledge to get a lot of things done. So we'll see what he comes up with. I am bullish on things that he's working on. So just my opinion. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this news? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Let's hope we see some sort of bounce upwards sooner than later for Bitcoin. And, you know, maybe we head to new all-time highs by Q2. We'll have to see. I think what we want to see is slow, steady growth. You know, some green candles consistently forming week over week. And, you know, we could be on track. And, you know, obviously there's going to be corrections along the way. That's market cycles. But I leave it with one word that's so important: patience. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.